A big warning from the nation's biggest private employer, Walmart, saying wage hikes now making profits take a hike. Is this a sign that pushing the minimum wage to the max may be causing maximum damage to the economy? Hi, everyone. I'm Brenda Butner. This is Bulls and Bears. And here they are, our Bulls and Bears this week. Gary B. Smith, Jonas Max Ferris, Susie Welch, along with Scott Martin and Nomi Konst. Welcome to everybody. Okay, Scott, you've been warning about wage hikes backfiring. Are we seeing that now?
Absolutely. We're seeing it backfiring in Walmart's case to the tune of $1.2 billion, sports fans. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg, Brenda. What we're starting to see right now is it affecting profits, it affecting company earnings. Do you know what happens next? We've seen this movie before. The big box companies will start laying off. They will start impacting smaller businesses as well who will start laying off. This is going to have destructive effects on the economy overall.
Nomi, you agree?
No, of course not. See, the problem with Walmart is that their business model is broken. They didn't factor in the economy growing. They didn't factor in the fact that keeping the wages low, which they're so known for, is actually putting more the taxpayers.
Now, Nomi, I just want to point out that they have been paying above the minimum wage for many years.
But they're known for low wages, and they're known for keeping their employees' hours down, which puts them on government subsidies at the cost of $2.6 billion a year. That's our tax dollars paying for their employees who are just below their the full-time hours. So, you know, when you look at another company like Costco, another big box company, they're paying their employees $20 an hour, and they only have a turnover rate of 6%, whereas Walmart has a turnover rate of 40% of their employees after a year turnover, which costs their company even more, billions of dollars a year for turnover. So it's actually going to work out in the long run. The problem is their business model is broken, and people at Bloomberg, all over the place, business analysts have been saying this all year. The business model is broken. They've got to fix it.
Well, Gary B., Walmart does have problems, but it's facing these wage hikes. And you know, to their credit, the CEO is saying that the employees deserve the wages that they're being paid, but it is hurting the bottom line.
Absolutely, Brenda. I'm glad Nomi feels that she can opine in on Walmart's business model, one of the greatest wealth creators in the history of the United States. But
by driving out small business.
Be that as it may, look, people just tend to think, oh, well, Walmart can afford it. Those rich execs, they don't need to be driving around in their Bentleys. That's not how business works. And the problem with the left is they've never been in business. They're all academics or
like Warren Buffett?
Talking heads. Let me finish. So they don't know how business works. This is how business works. That $1 an hour wage increase for Walmart cuts their net income 37%, because most of their stuff after they buy the goods is employee, people on the floor selling. That's how much of a cut it takes. And then that money, it just doesn't like, oh, the exec's like, oh, I can't join this country club. No, the way it works is that money comes out of retained earnings. What is that retained earnings used for? It's used to build more Walmart stores, expand, hire more employees. So, yeah, maybe those people get a few more dollars, but the future growth of companies like Walmart or Apple or Google, whatever, is definitely impacted by these wages, and it ends up hurting the economy. The left needs to learn there's no free lunch. They think there is because, my gosh, everything should be for free. It's just not the case.
Susie, so wage hikes, do you agree with Gary or Nomi that this is going to help or
Well,
hurt?
I think that there's a couple of different things going on at the same time. The famous business philosopher Peter Drucker once said, you got to ask yourself if you're in business. If you weren't in this business already, would you enter it? And if you weren't, what are you going to do about it? And if the Walmart executives were to answer this question, would we enter this business now, they would shake their heads and say, no, no, no. The business model is under assault. But I don't want to blame Walmart for it. I agree with Gary that they are one of the great wealth creators. They employ 2 million people. It's under assault because there's no price flexibility, and they're carrying a ton of real estate. That worked for a long time. There's going to be a gigantic shakeout in this space. And I don't think that it's all going to work out in the end. I think the people who are going to end up taking the hit, sadly, are going to be the employees. The only flexibility they have in this business model is to cut people.
And Jonas, there's the issue of wages, certainly, but Walmart is also investing heavily into e-commerce, which it needs to do. They're planning to cut prices. They have problems with their international stores because of the dollar. How important are the wage hikes?
They'd be really important if there was going to be a federal rule raising wages at Walmart's only, but that is not what is going to. First of all, nothing's happened federally yet, but let's pretend we get this Bernie Sanders wins, we get a $15 national federal sales. I can't think of a company better positioned than Walmart. The economy might take a hit. We might see higher unemployment rates, but this is a business that was built on squeezing the supply chain to get the lowest prices. If everybody has to face this pay increase, then the lowest prices are going to be at Walmart, which everyone's going to then flood to because now prices are going to go up because that's where wages are really going to hit is the consumer. What's hurting Walmart right now is the consumer has too much money from falling gas prices. They're stepping up to experiences, to better stores, to eating out more than buying in groceries, if you read between the lines. Walmart benefits from a screwed consumer when the nails are on. I mean, screwed over by the government raising consumer prices. So I see them benefiting, but the economy losing a little.
Susie, would you say, I mean, honestly, Walmart has helped so many people in this nation by keeping prices low.
Yeah, and they've kept prices low and they've allowed a lot of people to enter the middle class. The one thing that people don't give Walmart credit for is the number of careers it's launched. I mean, you can have a high school diploma or a little bit of college and you can become a manager at Walmart and end up having an international career. There are incredible careers that have been built by Walmart, and in that way also has generated growth. I would take one small issue with Jonas in that Walmart has competitors that are digital. And so they really, they have these margins. When you're competing against Amazon, as Walmart is, this is a company that doesn't really even want to make a profit. It's really hard for Walmart to continue to do what it's done.
Scott, let's broaden this out a bit. A new Fox News poll shows that 8 out of 10 people basically think that we've got a long way to go before we're in recovery, that we're very close to where we were back in the 2008 recession.
And frankly, Brenda, that's because there's too much government intervention. The government's in the way, just as in this case with the wage growth numbers. I mean, with the wage hikes here, because that's what's happening. The government is getting involved in private business and saying, yes, maybe the economy's so-so, maybe the economy's growing, but we can help. And as Ronald Reagan once said, the government is the problem here. And that's exactly what I'm seeing with regards to those surveys is as the government gets involved, as they take away the free market, as they provide force in the market, in the case of wage hikes and other things that happen to businesses, regulation, those things are what is hurting the economy and holding us back from a full recovery.
Nomi?
I think that you have it totally wrong. I mean, the problem here right now is that wages have been low and people don't have discretionary income. I'm sorry, Jonas, you were wrong about that one. There's income inequality, vast income inequality. People have been bogged down by high student loan rates, by the fact that they still haven't recovered from the mortgage collapse. People are still trying to get out of debt. Maybe the economy grew as a whole on Wall Street and CEOs are doing better than ever and companies have record profits, but people are still hurting. They don't have that extra money. And I mean, when you have to decide between your rent or whether or not you're going to pay for meals for the week for your children, that's a problem.
So Nomi, the message out of D.C. in the last, say, 7 years has been we're going to shrink the wage gap. We're going to get this wage equality up, and it's gone even the opposite direction. So you'd have to say that those are failed policies.
But that's not a Democratic thing. I mean, we have a Republican Congress. I mean, that's how politics works. You have to get this passed by Congress.
Not for the first half, we didn't.
Okay, Gary B.
Well, I like the old line where it's a recession if your neighbor loses his job. It's a depression if you lose yours. We've had, almost 2 terms of this current administration. And we have a labor force participation rate that's the lowest it's been in 38 years? I mean, that sums up why people think this economy stinks, Brenda. If you want a job, the best you can do right now is take some part-time job. Otherwise, you throw up your hands and give up. Or you're like my daughter. You have to go back to school and reinvent yourself. That's what this whole administration has caused. One of the worst recoveries ever. We're on the edge of recession. No wonder people are throwing up their hands and say it's terrible out there.
Okay, that's got to be the last word. Great debate. Thank you. And Cavuto on Business in about 20 minutes from now. Hey, Neil, what do you got?
Hey, Brenda, Donald Trump embracing his wealth and his success. These Democrats bashing wealth and success. So who really has the right message for America? Plus, would you rather tip or just pay more upfront for your meal? Chew on that, because we'll be seeing you with some food for thought at the bottom of the hour.
You certainly will. We can't wait, Neil. Thanks. But up here first, need proof this Iran deal is bad deal. Look no further to what they did this week.